Hi, I'm Mark and I'm passionate about English, and I'm here with Jason again. This is the third mini lesson he's been in because I feel he's quite good and he loves his English teacher.
Absolutely.
Okay, so today I'm going to give you a few jokes in each lesson in the courses, and because they'll be useful vocabulary and it gives you an idea of the British sense of humour. And the British sense of humour is quite different to other countries, I think, isn't it? Perhaps Australian is similar, New Zealand. But,
might be, yeah.
But, I mean, American humour and British humour?
It's very difficult to... I'm not an expert in overseas humour, but from what I've seen of Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock and people like that, I find a lot of their humour funny, but there are some very specific types of humour and gag that are to their culture. And
gag is joke, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But to me, if I watch... I mean, I never understand why people like Friends, because to me it's almost too simple. There's nothing clever about it.
No, it just shows how different we are, because I really like Friends.
Okay.
So, and that's okay. I'm sure there are other things that we both would find funny as well.
Okay, what are some other comedies that maybe people could check out on YouTube that you remember and you like?
Oh, goodness me. Let's have a think about this. Going through my childhood and everything else that I remember, things like the Two Ronnies.
Yes,
they're funny.
Very funny.
Mr. Bean is obviously world
He's international,
famous.
but of course, hardly any speaking.
Yes, he's almost a mime actor, isn't it?
And we call that probably slapstick, would we?
I think so, yeah, probably.
Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, of course, Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anyone else that is... Miranda.
Oh, that's quite funny.
Yeah, at the moment. I haven't watched a lot of comedy on television. I haven't been watching so much television recently, probably like yourself. But there are some very good comedians at the moment.
I mean, did you like, for example, Fawlty Towers?
Oh, yeah, of course. He was hilarious with Manuel and Basil Fawlty. I mean, that was very funny, yeah.
So
similar to Mr. Bean.
Yeah. And Monty Python.
Oh, yeah, excellent. Yeah.
But I don't think other nationalities would get that.
No,
so
absolutely.
much.
Yeah, I would agree with you. There are some bits in that are I mean, it's obviously directed and written by English people who, it's in their genes, isn't it? The type of humour.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading a study on the internet where it says actually, and they did studies of twins who've been separated, and there does seem to be something particular about the British sense of humour.
Yes.
I'm just neither of us are going to explain these types, but I'll put them at the bottom of the screen. But these are typical of the British sense of humour. Sarcasm, irony, self-deprecation. That's putting yourself down, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
The piss take.
Yeah, it's making fun of somebody else, isn't it? Yeah.
Or taking the mickey.
Yes, of course.
So if I hadn't seen Jason for a while, and I said, "Oh, Jason, you've lost lots of weight."
Yeah, exactly.
He hasn't really, but you would take that on the chin, we would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
You wouldn't be offended by that.
No, but somebody else might be.
Yeah.
But because we know each other and we've played sport together and there's healthy banter, I might say that your hair's growing really well at the moment. And
I would laugh.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'd call it quits, 1-1, and we'd move on probably.
Slapstick, I just mentioned. Potty humour.
I think potty humour is when it's like smutty, when you're it's slightly dirty, which is not always appreciated by ladies.
Well, potty is what a baby sits on when they're learning to go to the toilet. So
correct,
it's often connected with toilet humour and
yes.
a bit childish actually.
Yes.
And the other one was satire, which would often be connected with politics, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, so Denise, your wife, is Brazilian.
Correct, yes.
Have you had any, how can I say, misunderstandings because of the different sense of humour?
Yes, I think, speaking generally, my wife has got a good sense of humour, and I have as well, and we enjoy having fun together and with friends and family. However, there have been occasions over the course of our 20-year or so marriage where there have been misunderstandings and language, puns and double entendres and things like that have been missed completely.
Yeah.
And sometimes, one might make a funny comment and it goes completely over somebody's head and they don't sort of either even see it as funny, or actually they're possibly even offended by it, which can be awkward.
You gave me an example before about, what is it you said, you little devil?
Yes. I think there's been a number of times when my wife may have done something that was a bit cheeky, and to let her know that I recognise she was being cheeky, I would use that expression and might say, "Oh, you're a cheeky little devil," or "You're being a right little devil today," or something like that.
Yeah.
And my wife took offence to the use of that word "devil," which obviously means different things to different people in different cultures.
Because Brazilians are quite spiritual.
Correct,
and
yeah.
find that
fairly negative and insulting to be associated with the Antichrist.
It's reminded me of, I've often got in trouble because I do tend to joke quite a bit, and with people who are not British, or particularly non-British girls. I remember one example. Somebody, a girl I really liked, was texted me, "Where are you now?" And I said, I'm on my way to Forlì, an Italian town, for a shag. And a shag is sex. And I was completely joking, but of course she didn't understand it. She didn't get it,
right.
And it caused some problems.
Yeah. Question mark. So when you say she didn't understand it, she didn't understand that you were joking, or she didn't understand the words.
No, she didn't. She didn't understand that I was joking.
So she understood the words. She just didn't like what you were suggesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can. You can have a lot of misunderstandings. Okay, so I'm just going to go through some jokes with Jason, and now I haven't chosen these jokes at all, and I'm going to ask you to say, well, actually, out of 10, whether you think it's funny, and then we'll look at any vocabulary, and maybe you can explain it.
Yes.
So just take these off, and open sesame, we say, don't we?
Yeah. So this is completely spontaneous for both of us.
Well, the only reason I'm looking is to find one that's not too long. So I've never read this before, and it's to do with cars. A traffic cop, or traffic policeman, pulls level with a speeding car on the motorway. Glancing at the car, he's astounded, or very surprised, to see that the blonde behind the wheel is knitting. The policeman cranks down his window and yells, "Pull over?" "No," shouts back the blonde. "Scarf."
Yes. Okay. It's all in the delivery, isn't it? It's a reasonable kind of cracker type joke, isn't it?
What's pullover?
A pullover is another term for a jumper.
Or sweater,
or sweater.
Yeah.
And pullover also means like to pull over your car to one side, And obviously when he said pull over, as a policeman meaning pull over the car, she said no, it's a scarf.
So it's actually a play on words, exactly.
Yeah.
And I did ask you to give it, 0 to 10.
Okay, well... sometimes I find the play on words type humour quite fun because it can be intelligent sometimes. So I'd give it a 6.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Right, here we go again. Oh, families and parenting. Now you're a parent.
I am indeed, yes.
Okay. All right, the first one I found, which is not too long. I never knew the identity of my real parents. I wasn't adopted. It was just that whenever I got home from school, they put on masks and pretended to be French. Do you get it?
I have to say, not entirely. Was it? Yeah, I don't.
No,
it's not funny.
No, it's a kind of a bit cruel, actually, isn't it? But it's sort of just saying that his or her parents weren't very nice to them, or he or she didn't like the parents.
Yeah, I don't know if I've understood this correctly, but my understanding from the joke is that possibly that the person that was going home, was it a boy or a girl or whatever?
Doesn't say.
The parents were obviously trying to disown them,
Yeah.
and also then they said that they were French. So I don't know if that's actually
They pretended to be French.
Oh, okay.
So acted like they were.
Yeah. So it's not actually that funny.
I think I'd give that
2.
One
That's
and a-
probably,
one and a half.
one. Yeah, it's not even that funny.
Okay.
And if you told that to somebody that was French or had French relations, they might actually be offended with that.
Okay. So I've just opened the page. The topic is marriage.
Okay, I'm also married.
And you've been married for how long?
Unhappily married for quite a period of time.
Okay, so you might like this one. It's very short.
Okay.
For 20 years, my wife and I were very happy. Then we met.
Yes, that's a typical slapstick kind of comment making fun of marriage.
Yeah.
It's like somebody might say, I've been married for 20 years, 10 of them happily.
Yeah. And often we do this. We say a sentence and then the listener is expecting something else.
Yes.
And but the next sentence is sort of
Contradictory, isn't it? Yeah,
contradictory. Yeah. Out of 10?
It's a 6. Yeah, 6.
6. Okay. Mother-in-law. Is your mother-in-law alive?
My mother-in-law is alive, and we've got a very good relationship because she's 10,000 miles away.
So that's a typical
Witticism.
witticism. Okay, so mother-in-law. Oh. What's the definition of mixed emotions?
I know this one.
Do you?
Yes.
Well, hang on. What are mixed emotions?
Okay,
first?
it's when you've got your emotions are mixed. You're kind of you're not sure if you're happy or sad in the same.
Or you're
moment.
both.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got mixed emotions.
Okay, so what's the answer then?
Watching your brand new Mercedes being driven over a cliff by your mother-in-law.
Well, the answer is very close. When you see your mother-in-law backing off a cliff in your new car, yeah. So on the one hand,
So if you had a brand new £50,000 Mercedes and you saw that it was going off of a cliff, you would be obviously horrified that your beautiful new car was going off the cliff. But then you would see that actually in the car is your mother-in-law, who, if you didn't like her, you'd be like, oh well, there's kind of a benefit.
yeah. Okay, so this is the British joke a lot about mother-in-law
And marriage, yes.
and I don't know whether other nationalities do. I mean, if you told that to your wife.
Well, actually, that's interesting. I think it depends whether it was. If I explained that, in fact, that joke was given to me at a business dinner, and I found it hilarious. When I came home and explained to my wife that there was this great raconteur, this after-dinner speaker, and he told this joke, and I explained the context, she could really see the funny side of it.
Okay.
But if I had somehow made it like a true-to-life experience about my mother-in-law and personalised it, my wife would have been offended.
Yeah. Okay, one more, I think. Sorry, that's about homosexuals, which possibly is not.
Well, the English, we make fun out of everything, don't we?
Well, that's true. I'm trying to. Okay, shortness. So I'm shorter than you.
You are.
Um,
I'm bolder.
so he was so small, he had turnips in his underpants.
Yeah, it's like a 3 out of
What's
10.
a turnip?
A turn-up is when you've got trousers,
Yeah.
and you roll back the end of your trousers so that the bottom of your trousers perhaps isn't dragging on the road.
Or it
under your
used to be
shoes.
quite fashionable.
Yes,
Maybe
of
not
course.
now so
Yes,
much.
absolutely. Maybe in the 70s or something.
But yeah, if he's so short, he can even do it
Yeah.
with his underpants.
So when you asked me what a turn-up is, of course, I wanted to say it's a kind of legume or vegetable, which
yeah.
would be a play on words as well.
Yeah. But that wouldn't be funny,
No,
I guess.
it wouldn't.
Shall I do one more?
Yes, come on. I'm enjoying them so much. Let's see if we can actually get a cracker. A really good joke.
Okay, maybe you'll like this. It's to do with birds. The birds all around us. Louisa's.
Yes.
Oh, she's actually having a look at the printout. Okay, in his spare time, my granddad races pigeons.
Okay.
I don't know why. He never beats them.
Ha ha ha. Again, a play on words. Do we want to try and explain that one?
You can.
Okay, so my granddad is grandfather, yeah. Obviously has a hobby, which is to keep pigeons, a type of bird, and these pigeons are often known as homing pigeons, pigeons that fly home, or racing pigeons. Yeah. And the pigeons obviously race. The quickest one that comes home from a particular location would be the winner. And of course, the way they're telling the story, or the way it's structured, is that, you know, my grandfather often races pigeons. I don't know why he never beats them. Is a play on words, because it's my grandfather has the hobby of racing pigeons. But it also is a play on words, as if my grandfather races against them, literally, runs against them whilst they're flying, and of course he would never beat them.
So again, it's another play on words, which I particularly like, partly maybe my interest in the language, in English.
Yes, because you're passionate about English.
Yeah, and, exactly. And this is a typical example. If you don't get it, if you don't understand it the first time, jokes are not really very funny when you have to explain them.
They failed, haven't they? Yeah, because their purpose is to make people laugh quickly, and if they don't get it, then it's either the delivery, the way it's being told, the timing, possibly of the warm-up, and then the punchline.
Punchline is the funny bit of the joke.
Quip, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah, and there's an expression in English, well, it's difficult for you to guess what I want you to say, but it's the way
I tell them.
So yeah, it's the way you tell them, or it's the way I tell them, and we often do it in an Irish accent.
Yes. I've met Frank Carson.
Yeah, so it's actually about the way you tell the joke, not always whether the joke is funny.
Well, something I have found helpful when telling jokes and building relationships with foreign people is that we used to tell jokes, and when they don't laugh, but they're lovely people, we would say, look, I tell you what, I've just told a joke, you haven't actually understood it. What I'll do in future when we're in companies, I'll raise my hands like this and wave them, and you'll know when to laugh. And that's kind of being funny as well, and they kind of see the funny side to that, because they didn't understand, and you're sort of joking, sarcastically saying that you'll raise the hands to give them a prompt. And so sometimes what we would do is we would tell a joke, and if we were with somebody that we cared about, we might raise a hand, and then actually the raising of the hands would make them laugh as much as the joke might have done.
So am I being sarcastic now, or ironic? They're very difficult words, aren't they, to explain? Sarcasm, irony. So if I do this, I'm kind of pretending that I'm bored.
Yes.
Because of his long explanation.
Yes.
But you're not offended by that, because we know each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a similar sense of humour. Okay, so there was. If you didn't see the first mini lesson I did with Jason, he had an awful joke, actually, but in a way it's quite funny.
Compared to some of the ones you've taken out of the book, yes. Exactly.
Well, I could have chosen them, but I thought let's just do it randomly.
Okay.
What was your joke?
What's the definition of a Shih Tzu?
Now, a Shih Tzu is a type of dog, isn't it?
No, it's a shit zoo because it has no animals.
It's quite funny. All right, so Jason, thanks. I hope you will be available for some of the lessons in the courses starting in September.
Yes.
And I hope you'll actually take the courses. I think you'd learn quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely, particularly the ones on improving your humour. That was a little bit of sarcasm there.
Okay, thanks a lot, and see you in the next mini lesson.
Bye, guys.